It's been a while since my last video, and that is because on March 8, 2016, my new grandson was born. In the middle of all that, my daughter and her family were planning a move, in which we are finishing today and tomorrow. I'm only able to make this video during a small reprieve that I have while my granddaughter goes to her jazz class today. So I'll take these few minutes that I have to address the omnibus that President Trump signed yesterday. In the lead up to the omnibus, we were getting multiple signs that Paul Ryan, Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, and Chuck Schumer were cooking up a pile of steaming crap to serve to the American people. Initially, word from the White House was that President Trump would in fact sign the bill, despite what we were hearing from both houses on its content. Then, yesterday morning, President Trump tweeted that he was considering not signing because of how bad this bill was for the American people. Myself, I was leaning towards the first announcement as being how it would turn out, especially due to the fact President Trump qualified his remarks about the omnibus with the term considering. That led me to believe he was leaving the door open to signing the bill, if he could find substantive reason to ignore what he himself described as a steaming pile of rat shit, those being my words, not his much nicer analogy. Then, as I was watching and listening to Alex Jones on time delay, because YouTube is restricting InfoWars' ability to live stream their show for daring to speak out candidly about the Parkland school shooting. As I was watching the scroll, I could see that viewers were already commenting President Trump signed the bill, as Alex was claiming in time delay that he would point out what a pile of shit it was and then declare he would veto the bill. Of course, the opposite was true. Despite having a feeling that President Trump would in fact sign the bill as first stated by White House reps, I was deep down hoping that I would be wrong, because if President Trump were true to his word in his previous record as president, he mostly sticks to his map as much as he can. Sadly, my gut was right. Despite that, when Trump stated what a load the bill was and that he would never again sign such a bill, qualifying his acquiescence to the deep state and a crowing Nancy Pelosi, that I am signing this bill for our military, I couldn't help but feel as if President Trump had just taken a sledgehammer to all of us who believed in his message and had been supporting him throughout all of the treason going on in the trenches in D.C. to disgrace him and remove him from office for crimes they have been revealed to have made up and have in fact committed themselves. My initial reaction was feeling betrayed, which I still believe in the end that we were. I believe President Trump believes he is doing the right thing in the end by assuring that our brave men and women in the military are fully funded, and I do not argue with the fact that we cannot compromise on that front. However, I also feel that as history shows, if Trump had stuck to his guns and taken this opportunity to make a defining statement of his presidency on behalf of we the people and vetoed it as much as most expected him to do, Congress would in short term back down to political pressure from their individual constituencies and pull back much of the extra crap that was inside this bill. A bill that President Trump also made a point to say that no one, including himself, had fully read, hearkening back to Nancy Pelosi's infamous statement on the eve of passing the unconstitutional Obamacare that we have to pass the bill to see what's in the bill. So what exactly is in the bill? There is limited funding for the wall, which will likely be enough to get the ball rolling, if not in a limited fashion. It also has the full military spending that is vital for our armed forces to do the jobs we task them with and defend our country overseas. Then the bad stuff. Starting with taxpayer funding of Planned Parenthood. The same Planned Parenthood that has been fully exposed for their criminal, unethical practices, notwithstanding their core evil mission to exterminate human life in the womb and beyond. Then, among other atrocities against the American people, the $1.3 trillion theft of taxpayer money. In my estimation, there is no good in any of this, despite President Trump's use of the U.S. military as his excuse for what ultimately is yet another mass rape of the American people, most notably those of us who came out in historic numbers to elect him president. Despite the massive, unpunished, in-our-face election fraud that took many states and made it appear Hillary Clinton won the popular vote. Despite a 14-month ongoing assault which actually began in 2015 by the deep state to first assure Trump would not win the nomination, then to prevent him from winning the general election, and on to trying to exact an electoral coup which failed, and on into President Trump's first 14 plus months and ongoing. So how can we go on and make what is a complete pile of shit and raping of the American people into eventual victory? We must now use our power to hold President Trump to his word over the following months. And when the new bill comes up for debate in September, we must make our will known in every conceivable way possible, letting President Trump know that we will not forget this betrayal and that the only way he rights his wrong is to stand by his word. No compromise, period, in September. We make the demands and Congress complies, or else he will veto any bill that does not follow those guidelines, and the government will shut down for as long as it takes them to put together a bill that gives us what we demand. No excuses, no questions asked. If the wall, in fact, begins to be built and we can come around again in 6 months and do it right, things in Trump land should again be righted. In the end, it is up to we the people to ensure our representatives and President Trump act on our directives and mandate. If Trump betrays us again, there must be a price. We must be prepared for whichever outcome and to continue rebuilding our republic. No more excuses, Mr. President. We know your heart is in the right place and you felt you made the right decision. We also know that despite having you in the White House, the deep state is still firmly in control of the inner workings of our federal government. We trust you to bring it back on the road.